Okay, well, little background. Todd and I don't watch videos ever.
Yeah.
We're never on YouTube or social media. We don't watch videos. Never cared to. And so our reaction to guys that have been doing this for a long time, we're just calling it like we see it. And so if we come across as insulting, that wasn't our intention. But another thing is we really don't give a shit either.
Yeah, I don't really care. It doesn't affect us one.
No.
You can say whatever you want. It ain't going to affect me or
Yeah.
Bill. We don't give two shits. All we're doing is looking at stuff and trying to figure out, like, why the hell are they doing it that way? You know, but what I've realized is the concrete's still in dinosaur generation, man. We're still, nobody's really, they need to get up to speed and see what else is out there. Not everybody, but a lot of them still are. And this is probably why it's kept a lot of guys from going into the concrete business. They had to start there or start as a little screeder hand. They're not going to last. New guys they're not going to last that long. You know, they're going to find something else to do. But if you have some of the new technology and the new things that are out there, hey, you don't know where they can take it. You know, what other, you know, usually these ideas come from another concrete guy that's been doing this, and they just throw out their idea, and that becomes the new idea. And everybody's always trying just to make it a little bit easier so you can be a little bit more competitive. Everybody can make a little bit more money. You know, and that's kind of that's why we look into all this stuff.
Well, we've all got younger guys, too, that bring us videos. Hey, check this out. Look at this tool. Look at this. Check this out. And we're willing to look at everything and say, yeah, that looks like it would be easier. And if it's a good investment, we'll do it. If it's not, then we'll pass. But
we're willing to try.
That doesn't mean they won't do it when they go on their own.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
You know, they may say, when I go on my own, I'm buying that tool, and I'm gonna, like the vibrating float. I thought was an excellent idea. I just didn't think we needed it. You know, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of the guys that work for us, they may have one.
Yeah.
You know, I'd like to go see. I'd like to see it work. It looks good, but to me, we just never thought it was worth the investment. Or the power trowel on a pole. I like that idea too. Never invested in that, you know, which I think some guys would.
Right.
It's a great idea. So get out there without walking out.
Well,
on your
that's
concrete.
all it is, just information. Do whatever you want with the information, you know. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, great, you know. It doesn't really affect anybody. It's mainly about yourself. You
Right.
know, what information, what works for your guys' business.
But it's also, if you're the boss, you got to start looking at your employees. You know, we can look back now after, you know, we've been doing this for so long. We can look back and say, I wish we would have done it this way. If you're the young boss, you know, you say you're in your 20s or early 30s, you still got a long time. You got to start looking at these younger employees. Am I wrecking these guys' body for my benefit? Can I make it easier?
Right.
You know, I there's a lot of times like doing the curb machine. When we first started, we poured a ton. We poured thousands of feet, and it was body destroying work for these guys to follow this machine that long. It's fine. So we cut it back. What we would do is we'd spend a day setting up our string lines, and we'd spend the next day pouring. And then we said, okay, let's spend half a day pouring and half a day setting string line.
Yep.
You know, so guys weren't bent over. We still got the same amount of work done. Guys just weren't bent over as long. And then we started finding other ways. How can we do it faster? How can we get guys off the ground more and more? You start finding trowels and tools that you can use to try to get more guys standing up, and maybe find ways to use less labor.
Yeah.
You know, so that should be on a boss's mind all the time. How do I save my guys? How do I keep my guys from getting hurt or, you know, from wrecking their bodies?
Well, burning them out. You're going to burn them out.
Exactly, burn them out. So, and I'm sure everybody faces that, but if you're not willing to do anything about it, does that really make you a good boss, you know? So that's what we're looking at is we just know too many guys whose bodies are shot from concrete. I can't think of really any other job. I'm sure there's tons of jobs that wreck your bodies, but concrete work cripples your bodies over 20, 30 years. It just does. It doesn't matter how you do it. Maybe if you have a laser screed and you laser screed and then you jump on your riding power trowel, you know, you go home just like that was a pretty easy day, you know.
Yeah.
And you're pouring 10 times the amount of concrete we pour, so obviously that's golden, you know.
Yeah.
But we can't all do it that way.
Yeah.
Well, that's the issue too. There's a lot of people that have commented too, and they said, "Why not just use a laser screed? They're expensive, and it's not feasible for lots of people that are into concrete."
Okay, but I've seen a lot of guys. I've seen, now that we started watching videos, I've seen guys pour some humongous pads day in and day out, and they screed it by hand. In fact, this guy I'm talking to in Oregon does the same. They pour big stuff and they screed it by hand, and I'm like, you need to invest in a laser screed. You know, why are you letting your guys be bent over screeding huge pads like this? This is craziness. You know, those guys should be investing in laser screeds. So, you know, you can get used ones for not that much. So new ones are expensive. But if you're pouring a lot of big stuff, man, that to me would be the way to go.
The way to go, for sure.
But I think the next best thing behind a laser screed is a roller screed. So, and these guys that have laser screeds, they started with roller screeds, and they poured huge stuff with roller screeds, and it met the flatness. I mean, the engineers passed it all off. You can get your floors really flat with roller screeds. So, whoever's saying you can't, and whoever's saying these are junk, and whoever says you've never used them.
Yeah.
We've been using them for many years. There's guys that have been using them for 20 years longer than us, you know, maybe longer than that. And they're the big guys. They're the guys that have the laser screeds now. They're the guys that are pouring the massive jobs. And they swear by the roller screeds. So we know what's possible with them. And sloped concrete, you know, you can pour sloped concrete. It's pretty versatile. There's a lot you can do with the roller screeds. Obviously, you can do the same hand screeding, but your roller screed gets guys off the ground, and it's fast. Especially when you start getting really wide pipes, 25-foot wide pipes. You're pouring a lot of concrete really fast.